Uprooted trees and debris litter the Guadalupe River amid catastrophic flooding over the Independence Day weekend. After the river rose almost 8 meters in less than an hour last Friday, leaving behind a torrent of grief for a community struggling to make sense of yet another devastating natural disaster in the United States.
As of 8:30 this morning, we recovered 75 deceased bodies here in Kerr County, including 48 adults and 27 children. Of this 48 adults and 27 children, 15 adults and 9 children are pending identification. At present, there are 10 campers from Camp Mystic unaccounted for and 1 counselor. We continue to offer our condolences to those affected. Reuniting the families remain our top priority here on this operation.
As the likelihood of finding survivors grows slimmer by each hour, rescue crews continue to scour deluged riverbanks and areas where water rushed through, sweeping up everything in its path.
I will say for many of us, those are friends and neighbors who've lost children. Got multiple kids who go to school with my girls. The mayor asked for prayers. And I want to say thank you to the millions of Texans, to the millions of Americans, to the millions of people all over the world right now who are praying for Texas and praying for those parents, the children and little girls who were lost at Camp Mystic. That's every parent's nightmare. Every mom and dad. Last week, we were picking up our daughter from camp here in Hunt. Our girls have gone to camp here for a decade.
The National Weather Service indicated that a flood watch would remain in effect through the rest of the week, as questions swirl around whether the tragedy might have been mitigated or prevented through public alerts and evacuations.
Flash flooding can happen very quickly. Survivors talk about how quickly the water rose, and we see from the observations river that this river, which is typically moving very slowly and might only be 3 feet in its water level at a particular location, rose quickly within an hour to a raging torrent of 30 feet of water that was 30 feet high. That just outside of its typical banks. That shows how quickly a life-threatening situation like this can escalate, and why it's so important to take immediate action when flash flood warnings are issued.
Democratic leader in the United States, Senator Chuck Schumer, now pushes for an investigation as to whether Trump administration cuts led to staff shortages at key local weather service stations, contributing to the catastrophic loss of life and property, with some media reports that key forecasting coordination positions in the region were vacant at the time of the storm. The White House pushed back.
In the lead up to this tragic natural disaster, the National Weather Service did its job. Despite unprecedented rainfall, the National Weather Service executed timely and precise forecasts and warnings. On July 3rd, the National Weather Service office in Austin, San Antonio, Texas, conducted forecast briefings for emergency management in the morning and issued a flood watch in the early afternoon. Flash flood warnings were also issued on the night of July 3rd and in the early morning of July 4th, giving preliminary lead times of more than 3 hours before flash flooding conditions occurred. And the National Weather Service office in New Braunfels, which delivers forecasts for Austin, San Antonio, and the surrounding areas, had extra staff on duty during the storms, despite claims of the contrary. So to any person who has deliberately lied about these facts surrounding this catastrophic event, you should be deeply ashamed.
Almost 24 people remain missing in a search involving multiple agencies and hundreds of volunteers. President Trump is expected to visit the region Friday after signing a disaster declaration over the weekend, freeing up federal funding to ensure that emergency personnel and first responders have the critical resources needed to help the region recover from the flooding catastrophe. Recent floods in the Eastern Cape of South Africa also claimed in excess of 100 lives. As the severity of extreme weather phenomena become more widespread, driven in part by a warmer atmosphere as a result of a hotter planet and, of course, climate change. Sherman Rice-Breeze, SABC News, New York.